So I've been asked, what are your thoughts on the global stock market crash?
As one of the worst stock exchange bloodbaths in history continues to hit global markets.
The economic fallout from President Trump's tariffs has heightened concerns of a recession and a global trade war.
Global markets continue to feel the pain, with indices in Asia reeling on Monday as President Donald Trump's tariffs send shockwaves across the world.
I'm Andrew Henderson, founder of Nomad Capitalist. We help high net worth clients find safe havens overseas. And I'm here in Portugal right now. We're filming Live Like a King Lisbon. We're doing some research on the ground. My message to you for years has been you want to be diversified. And so what I'm going to tell you here is a lot of what I've been telling you over recent weeks, recent months, and over the recent years. One of the things that people are seeing is if they're invested exclusively in U.S. equities, they've really taken a hit. Now, you saw just recently one day, the Hang Seng market in Asia got hit hard. But if you look at the first couple days where the U.S. and then Europe got beaten up, Asia actually did better. And so I've been talking to you for years, so I'm heavier on Asian equities. That helped me avoid some of this. Now, I personally am more into defensive stuff. I have a growth business called Nomad Capitalist. I invest a bit more conservatively. And so partially for that reason, I was able to suffer, lower losses, just as I don't earn some of the crazy NVIDIA-like gains when things go up. But if I look at my portfolio in, again, the last couple days, the last couple weeks, and the last couple months, what I've seen is being diversified has helped me. And yes, everything's gotten hit in the last couple days in some way or the other. But by being diversified, that has helped. Here's another thing that's helped me. If you're denominated in US dollars and you have assets, stocks, real estate, just cold hard cash, whatever it is, in euros, I have an asset. It went up $100,000 almost overnight, not because it went up in value, but because the dollar went down in value against the euro. And so my asset held in euros was strengthened. And so if you're looking at holding assets in your base currency, whatever that is, I think US dollars are going to be the ones that are going to get beaten up worse in the months and probably years to come. You can increase your US dollar net worth, or at least maintain it, by having assets in other currencies that are going up. One of the guys who's here filming with us said, hey, the Malaysian ringgit's not doing too bad against the US dollar. And so you've seen the US dollar has sunk against other currencies. If you had opened bank accounts in those countries to hold their currency, not just your own, but other currencies. If you had invested in projects like here in Portugal, you can get a golden visa by investing in euros. They give you a residence permit. It leads to citizenship. It's like 2 or 3 birds killed with one stone. And in the last couple of days, with the euro appreciating against the dollar, you could have made some money on that on paper. Speaking of Malaysia, Nomad Capitalist Live is coming up April 15th. Tickets go on sale at nomadcapitalist.com/live. And we're going to have experts from all around the world talking about asymmetrical investments, from Latin America to Africa to Asia to AI on a global scale outside of the U.S. Go to and check out the lineup, nomadcapitalist.com/live. We've got Glenn Greenwald, the co-founder of Apple, the former president of Mexico. They're all coming. They all have something to tell you. But what I have to tell you is that lineup at Nomad Capitalist Live mirrors exactly what my thoughts are on the global stock market crash. Listen, there's going to be up days, there's going to be down days. If you can soften the down days by being diversified, that's going to be your strength in the long run. And so I've told you, have different currencies, be in different stock markets, have real estate around the world, and do that in different places, right? I own real estate in Kuala Lumpur because I want to live there. It is not the best investment in the world. It's incredibly affordable real estate. And if you come to the event, I hope you'll check it out. Probably, 1/8 the price of some of the stuff we're seeing in Lisbon per square foot or per square meter. But that may not be the property that's going to hold its value either on a currency basis. The ringgit's doing okay right now, but in the last 10 years it hasn't. It may not go up as much as property in other places because there's constant building. Having a property in Malaysia is not a bad thing to do if you want to live there. It's a tax-friendly place. But in terms of, stock markets dropping, where can I diversify my money where it's growing faster? I looked at some of the frontier markets that I've invested in. Even during COVID, they outperformed. Places like Cambodia, we've talked about. If you look at, some of the banks in Georgia, they got beat up last year to do local events, and they've actually done pretty well, this year. Again, everything's getting beaten up in the last couple of days, but they've done pretty well compared to banks in other parts of the world. And you've seen, bank stocks outside of the United States having, in many cases, taking a softer blow. So, yes, to some extent, diversification is the price to pay for just, for ignorance, right? Warren Buffett talks about that. And he says, just buy stocks that you have a high conviction of, buy property you have a high conviction of, stop trying to do too many different things. What I've always taken issue with that is what happens when a political event that you have no control over and you couldn't have predicted happens. They're called black swan events, COVID, 9/11. I mean, how many other things? Maybe this is the next black swan event. And so if you can be diversified across jurisdictions, one of the things that I have been telling you about, I have a fund in frontier market Asia that I'm an investor in. And they were talking about, countries like Uzbekistan where they invest and saying if these tariffs come to fruition, this is a couple months ago, if the tariffs come to fruition, there's really not much importing and exporting from these countries, and certainly none to the U.S. and the West. And so there's a built-in sort of isolation. One thing I think is if you're just invested, and I'm not an investment advisor, I'm not giving you investment advice, but if you're only in the S&P 500, you might want to reconsider this, not only because the kind of period that it seems we're going into now is one at which emerging markets produce outsized returns. There's some charts that I've been looking at recently that say these years that we think are coming up are not great markets for Western, in particular U.S. equities. They are the times when emerging markets shine. And so my point is, if you're only invested in the S&P 500 and there is an increasing trade war around the world, how many of those U.S. companies are going to be welcome to do business? Are their products going to be wanted by, other places? One of the greatest allies of the United States, Canada, Canadians are now saying, you know what? You ruined your relationship with us, U.S. We want to buy our own Canadian products. We don't want your imports anymore. And so this idea that the S&P 500 will be this ongoing conduit for investing in the growth of the world, I think potentially that could change. I think emerging market stocks in the coming years could outperform on their own. But I think you're going to have to find conglomerates and consumer good companies and all the things that are the constituent parts of the S&P 500, even tech companies. Look at what's happening with DeepSeek, for example. They're saying, when is India's DeepSeek going to come out? This idea that the U.S. markets will be the epicenter of the world, maybe more European companies like the oil companies that are increasingly toxic here in Europe, maybe they'll go and relist in the U.S. stock market. But I just see that we're really barreling down what I've been telling you for 12 years. Listen, I'm not here to give you investment advice, but I am here to tell you, number one, Nomad Capitalist Live. We're going to have a lot of experts, people who are investing on the ground, people who have done business all around the world, starting from Steve Wozniak, who co-founded Apple, talk about an international company, all the way down to folks who were just doing deals in Africa, doing deals in Latin America. Maybe you can get a passport there. Maybe you can get a residence permit. Maybe there's a bank account opportunity. One guy's coming to talk about AI in Asia. If you're living in the West, you want to hear about this. And so my view on the markets, go and watch all the videos we're going to be putting out in the coming days about news happening. Go back and watch the videos in the recent weeks about the recession and taxes going up. This is a chaotic time. And so it's a perfect time, in my opinion, to come to an event like ours. And it's the perfect time to get a plan together. Go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply and get a plan. Yeah, I mean, this is me selling you something because I believe in what I've done over the years. It has helped me in recent days. Yes, I'm down a little bit, but I feel comfortable knowing that I'm diversified and that I'm not at the mercy of one country, their president, their government, their geopolitical events, their financial events. And I have suffered a lesser blow, and in some cases I have overcome those losses as a result. We'd love to see you at our event. We'd love to have you as our client. Maybe we'll see you here in Portugal or somewhere else along the road. But very simply, we're seeing everything I've been talking about for years.